I literally want to leave this interview as you're talking.
Wait, you're going to...
I'm getting
guess what happened? Guess what happened next? But my question to everyone listening is, are you like me? Do you sort of leave yourself not enough time? I've got a secret theory as to why I do it to myself and put my family through it and embarrass myself in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen and a grieving congregation. But it's very interesting to hear what you say, Noel McDermott. But I think the question for people listening is, what's maybe the most embarrassing moment you've arrived late? Can it beat me arriving after the Queen for Dame Jilly Cooper's memorial service on Friday? And I speak out of shame, not any pride at all, in relating this anecdote. Noel McDermott, thank you for coming on. You're the founder and psychotherapist at Mental Health Works Limited, and clearly I'm very much in need of your services, aren't I?
Maybe or maybe not. I have to say, when I was listening to you talk about the airport stuff, I was having mild panic attacks. I think I'm with your husband. So I need to leave the day before. I definitely am not going to fly with you anytime soon.
Come fly with me.
No, I wouldn't be able to cope with it.
Men of Britain say no.
I think that's it.
Honestly, there was one time, Noel, we were going through an airport and he said, I am fed up with travelling with you. Right, you're in charge. We had 3 quite small children and we were in Sicily. And I said, fine, I can do it. Stop being so mean. So we got to the airport, got to the terminal, and he refused to do anything. I had the passports, I had the tickets, we were all quite hungry. So I said, let's go for a coffee and a panini before we get on the plane. So I queued up, got the coffees and the paninis. We sat down at a table.
I literally want to leave this interview as you're talking.
Wait, you're going to... Guess what happened? Guess what happened next? So my husband was staring at the departure board and he said, can you tell me why our flight isn't even on the departure board? And I answered him, I said, well, it must be some mistake. And he said, don't be a fool. The reason our flight is not on the departure board is we're in the wrong terminal. Right. And then he took over. And I remember was running through the airport and we had to go through passport control, go into another terminal, go through passport control again. And he said, this has taken years off my life. If I die of a heart attack tomorrow, I am blaming you. Anyway, Noel.
Yeah, statins for your husband. Toot sweet before he loses his mind.
So what's the explanation to this?
Well, I think, one thing, there's a number of reasons why people, I don't know about you, I'd have to diagnose you, and that would take a lot longer than this interview, right? So in general, broad brush terms, I think you hinted at one of the reasons why some people come to an acceptance that they're just going to be late. And the most common reason is you have young children.
No, not guilty.
I know, but you've had them. And
no, but that's got nothing to do with it. Honestly, really rule that one out.
Look, you're allowed to blame yourself and whip yourself. That's fine. You deserve it. Another common reason why people have difficulties around timekeeping is neurodiversity. A lot of people don't have their neurodiversity diagnosed, specifically ADHD. It's a classic reason that people have issues around timekeeping. The information just doesn't go in. And it's similar to the description that you're giving. Another classic reason is that people are genuinely very anxious about the issues of being on time. So one way of dealing with the anxiety is what your husband does, which is arrive a day before, and that's what I do.
He's probably there now at London City Airport. Right. Listening.
When you said that, I was thinking, I'm there with him in spirit already. So I would be there the day before. And another way of dealing with it is just to try and fend off the reality of having to be there on time because it's too anxious to organise himself, and it just gets overwhelming. And that comes out, I think, and you described it very well in the sense of, oh, it'll be fine, even though life has taught you it's not going to be fine.
It's never fine. I never
you need
build
to be
in
slightly more anxious.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I always assume the best. I never think there's going to be a traffic jam or a roadblock, or the tube line will be closed. I always think.
I'm guessing for yourself, it's because you're quite a busy person, right? And there's a lot going on in your life, and you don't literally have a personal PA walking around sorting things out for you.
No, I don't. You're quite right. I wish I did.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing what you do is you compartmentalize things, and you make best case scenarios, and you probably are the sort of person, I'm guessing, that you put far too many things into your day that any one reasonable human being could actually do. And so you tell yourself a story, a comforting story, that this 3 million things that I've agreed to do today are perfectly reasonable to get done. And then you're constantly surprised by the fact that, oh, no, I didn't achieve all those 3 million things. But I think the least likely reason, and it's the reason that people most go to, is that actually you're an unpleasant person who thinks you're more important than anybody else.
It's really not that.
I know it's not that, and that's often where people go.
I was mortified. I cannot tell you how mortified. Can I tell you my secret theory about why I have to be late? I think it's because I need something about my endocrine system needs the adrenaline rush of being late and panicking, because I need to kind of wake myself up, and I make myself late because something, I don't know, I can't control in my subconscious says, right, it's time for a real, you need to be zapped by this adrenaline rush and this panic attack type thing.
I think I would guess there's a certain amount of truth in that. I'm not quite sure I'd describe it in that way, but this thing of needing heightened activity or heightened levels of adrenaline to push you to get things done, it's probably just a habit you've got into. And I come back to having children, that there's also your career, there's also the way you are as a person. I suspect this has been the whole of your life, that it just in time is the way you deliver things. And if I think about the career that you're in now, getting onto the radio, you've got to get to the studio, or I don't know if you're in the studio.
I'm never late for work.
I'm sure you're not, but it's like that high energy in your show, for example. You've got a bunch of producers getting things done. You've got a lot of really interesting ideas. I want to get this done. You're that type of high energy, creative person.
Well,
unfortunately.
Thank you. I can see the invoice is getting bigger and bigger, everything you say.
But unfortunately, London Underground don't work in the same way as you.
They don't work to my timetable.
They don't.
And nor does Southwark Cathedral.
How irritating is that?
I know.
And I think if the world did work to your timetable, well, I think I'd probably hang myself. It's the truth.
That's so good. Okay, I think we're going to have to throw this open. That's been brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if you're going to have to take a tranquilizer now, Noel McDermott. Just after talking to me about my pathological, it seems, need to leave not quite enough time to get to my destination. That was Noel McDermott.
If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.